Out today by showing you that first product that I was telling you about from pinchme.com. This is the Biore. It's free pores, charcoal, great for oily skin, all-in-one cleansing micellar water. And it says no need to rinse, and it's oil-free. What it tells you to do is to wet a cotton pad and wipe all over your face until your skin is completely clean. To remove eye makeup, hold the pad over closed eyes a few seconds and then just swipe away. No need for harsh rubbing. Okay, so I have a cotton pad, and once again, wet a cotton pad. Okay, let's give it a try and see how it works. I don't know how much I have to wet it. So this is kind of trial and error. Feels cooling. Well, it looks mighty dirty. Son of a gun. So I guess taking all the makeup off. Let me keep doing the one side until it is clean. Feels good. Wow, look at this. Son of a gun. This is definitely taking stuff off. So it looks like you're going to be using quite a bit of the product to get all the makeup off. And let me do my chin. Start on this side. I can see why they say you don't have to rinse it. I'm telling you, it doesn't look like it's only taking makeup off. It looks like whatever dirt from the I'm going to get another pad. Whatever dirt from the atmosphere that gets onto your face. And I've been going from car dealership to car dealership, and I'm going to tell you more about that after this is finished. All right, now what I'm going to do is I am going to put some on and close my eye as they suggested. Leave it on for a few seconds and then just swipe. See if that works. I don't have a lot of eye makeup on, so I don't know. I'm not too sure about that part of it. I'm wondering if my face feels a little bit itchy. I'm not sure. Let me leave this on for a minute or two, a couple of seconds actually, and then just swipe. See how that works? Yeah, it's definitely taking it off. I have to tweeze again. So that is definitely taking off the makeup. I will tell you, my face does feel really clean. It does. So my initial impression of the Biore is a good one. Okay, so once again, this is it. I will let you know. I'll definitely update you and let you know how I feel about it over time, and if I like what it does for my skin or if I don't. So on that note, let me just tell you a little bit more about the car stuff. I have to tell you, this search for a car, feeling the way I feel, was not something I wanted to do to begin with, and it's been more frustrating than I can possibly tell you. I'm so happy it's not something that needs to be done often. I went the night before. I decided what happened was I got a call from the Mercedes dealership telling me that we had a slight problem. And this is the dealership that I've dealt with before, and I got my last car from. And I said, what's the problem? I didn't get a call from my salesperson. I got a call from the finance department. And he said to me, there's a little problem with your credit. I said, what's wrong with my credit? Because my credit was, it was not perfect, but it was in the sevens. I think it was somewhere around 720 something. And I had told the salesman when I first sat down with him, I said there could be an issue because when I was sick and I was in the hospital in rehab, I said I tried to pay whatever bills I could think of, but it was very hard for me to pay bills because I always pay my bills online, and I didn't have a secure network. I had no way of accessing everything. I had Linda on the other side who really was not finding too much of anything, and it was difficult. You know, I was pretty much on my own. So I said there was a possibility there might have been a couple of late payments at that point, but that was the reason for it, if in fact it happened. So he told me, well, the problem was that the payment was going to change. So from the original payment he had quoted me, which was in the low fives, it suddenly was going to go up to 563. And I said, no way. So I hung up the phone and I got really angry because I said I had explained it before. I was not trying to hide anything. And in fact, and they also told me that there had been one late payment on my Mercedes, to which I said it was impossible because the payments were made directly from the bank. I never made those payments, not once. It just directly went from the bank every month on the same date. So I got upset and I decided it was late in the day before yesterday, and I said I'm going to the Nissan dealership because I had also seen that the new Altima looked like a nice car. They said it was completely redesigned and they thought it was a nice little car. So I said, okay, maybe I can do that and then I can get a lower payment, and maybe it's meant to be, and that's why this is all happening. So I went to a dealership not too far away, maybe 6 or 7 miles away, and there was a nice young man there to help me. It was during rush hour. I was actually wound up being there probably for 2 hours because I test drove 3 cars. I test drove the Altima, the new one, and I loved it. Problem was the Altima, as he had explained to me, because it was a new car and a completely redesigned car, there were no incentives on it. So that the payment would be considerably higher than my Mercedes. Well, that makes 0 sense. So that was no longer in the running. He told me I could do much better on a Rogue, and a number of you have recommended to me that I consider a crossover or an SUV, and that I might really find that I like that a lot. So I said, okay, I'm going to try to drive that and see how that feels. So I went to try that. I test drove it. I thought it was kind of fun, actually, and said, maybe I can do this. But once again, it was going to come down to price. It was all about numbers. Then I drove the Maxima, and I like the Maxima also. I was not going to make a decision that night because I didn't know enough about Nissan at this point. I had a Nissan many years ago, but I didn't know enough about it at this point. I needed more information, so I wanted to go online. I watch YouTube videos for everything, to learn everything about everything. And I knew that I needed to do that. I cannot find... Oh, because it fell on the floor. Okay. This is my concealer. It is an awful day today. Today is a nor'easter. It doesn't look as bad here as it was supposed to be, but it's not nice. There's a lot of wind. I can see there's a huge pine tree just outside my front door, and it is swaying in the breeze above my skylight, which is probably a little bit scary. And it might be smart for me to actually not be in this room for too long, just in case. So it's dark and dismal, so that's why I'm looking so absolutely stunning. All right, just a little bit of that. So after test driving them, I felt comfortable enough. Now, he had given me the impression that I might be able to get the crossover in the very low fours, or somewhere around 400 a month. And I said, well, that would certainly be worth considering. It's not a huge difference in payment, but it's at least worthwhile to consider. At the end of the day, and he was also, by the way, he started coughing, and you know when somebody's getting sick and you know they're getting sick, and I said to him, please, if you are sick, tell me. I cannot afford to get sick now. I said, I've been so sick. I just really need to stay away. And he said, no, I'm fine. I'm just choking on something. By the end of my time with him, I said to him, listen, I said, you're coming down with a cold. And he said, yeah, I think you're right. So I've taken some vitamin C and hope that I'm not going to come down with his cold, because I need that exactly as much as I need a third thumb at this moment in my life. So I never got numbers from him. I never got finite numbers. So I could not make a decision. He was not going to be in the next day. So I had decided to go to another Nissan dealership to find out what the numbers were, to see if it was a viable option. Meanwhile, while I was in, trying to think of which one it was. I think it was when I went back to Honda, because I was trying, the day before, I was trying to talk myself into the Honda, because that was the only one that really gave me a lower payment. I'm going to be trying a different perfume today. This is Angel by Mugler, so I'm going to be trying that one. Let's see how that is. Cute bottle. That is cute. Dirty, but cute. I'm surprised that it's dirty. The chrome part of it has a stain on it. I'm sure I can clean that off, but that bothers me. Okay, but it's really cute. All right, let's see how it is. Nice. I like the smell a lot, actually. Oh God, it reminds me of something from my childhood. Wow, it reminds me of something I bought my mother when I was a little girl, when I bought her a present for some occasion, whether her birthday or Mother's Day or something. I like it. Let's see if it tells you anything about what is it. I can never define different scents. No, it doesn't say what it is. Oh, this is also refillable, this bottle. Oh well, I like the smell of it. I really do. Very nice, very pleasant, very easy to live with. Okay, so when I had been at the Honda dealership, the kid he was a young man, and he said to me, he said, I told him my whole situation and everything. He said, listen, he said, I'm supposed to sell you cars. He said, but I think you're crazy if you do this. He said, the difference in the payment is not enough to make a difference. And he said, 3 years is an awfully long time to live with something you're going to hate. And I think there's a good chance you're going to hate this car. I already didn't like the car, and the seats are lower than every other car. There's no question about it. So that was a real issue for me. But he mentioned to me that the owner of his dealership also owned, they owned 5 dealerships altogether, and one of them was a Mercedes dealership out in Southampton, which is a good 2 hours from here, easily 2 hours from here. But I said, could you do me a favor and ask him to come talk to me for a minute? Perhaps he can help me. Maybe I can do better with a car from there. So he said he would have his manager call me, or his sales manager, if the general manager was not in, and he was not. So the sales manager called me, and he called me actually on my way home. So he called very quickly. And I told him what I was looking at, and I said to him, just let me know if you have anything, and if you do, because there are not all that many of the leftover 2018s with the multimedia package. And if I'm getting the Mercedes, I want the multimedia package. If I don't get the multimedia package, I can get any other car. It really doesn't matter. So the guy called me and he gave me a price, and I was not too excited about I was going to be getting a white car from my original dealership, and I think white cars are beautiful, don't get me wrong, but I don't always have my car washed all the time, and I think white cars that are not clean look awful. So I was afraid of that in my hands. So, and funny, because my son was telling me that his car is white, and that her car is white, and that her last car was white, and they love the white cars. And I said, yeah, I can see where you would if you take good care of them. So, in any case, he had something called Lunar Blue, which I gather is like a navy blue with the light interior that I want. So the original price that was quoted to me, as I say, from with the waived first payment was $516. So now it was going to be with the one that he was getting all the same equipment, exactly the same, except the paint color was different. And the paint color, you pay extra when it was a metallic, like a dark blue. I think it's like a navy blue. I can't swear to it, but I think so. So, what his quote was 507, 506, 507, something like that. And I said, okay. So it was going to be cheaper it had 2 extra little things. One was a small thing I didn't care about, and the other was the paint color, which would have added to the price if I had gotten it from my guy. Now, mind you, they had said it went from the 516 at the first place up to 563, and I said, that is not happening. And I said, so what you're telling me is that I am going to be penalized by a company that I've had a relationship with and had every payment on time for 3.5 years because I was sick. And I said, that's sick. I really can't imagine that, and that's a terrible thing, and I think it's stupid. So I didn't want to tell the other guy about the issue to begin with because I wanted to get his quote for the price as it would have been before I told him. So, okay. At that point, I did tell him what the story was, and I said that they ran my credit and they said that I was not tier 1. Now, mind you, tier 1 I think starts at 700. When I looked at my own, it had come down. It looked like it was $699. Which again, I mean, listen, I get it. And when I had said it to my first salesman, I said, my God, I said, I got sick. And now I'm going to be punished for getting sick. And that really upset me. So either he said or his finance person said, I don't remember which one, said, well, life happens, you know, that's the way it goes kind of thing, but not at all empathetic, and that, again, bothered me. If you have a relationship with somebody, and I brought him somebody else, so why would you not go out of your way, I would think, or try, or something, or at least sound like you care? So I told the other guy, and he told me that he would run my credit. He said, but they're not going to give different numbers and say a different tier for one shop to another. It's going to be the same. So I said, well, let me know what the story is, and then I can make a decision about what I'm going to do, because my feeling was at that point that I was going to have to go with a different car. So he didn't get back to me. He took my information on Thursday afternoon and told me he would get back to me. And oh, another wonderful thing about it was that they were going to actually physically deliver the car to me instead of making me, now realize it's 2 hours away, but still, he was going to physically deliver it to me. Do you know how much easier that is for me in my situation? To have it delivered to my door, and they were going to pick up my old car. Yippee-i-o-ki-yay. That was a wonderful thing for me, so it was really worthwhile. So he finally got back to me yesterday while I was at the Nissan dealership talking to this guy who I was not at all comfortable with, the guy I dealt with yesterday. And I had said to him, listen, I have to get a car within the next few days. I need you to give me your best price. I don't know what people think when you say that. Do they not understand English? He did not give me the best price. He ultimately gave me a price on a Maxima, and he told me it was going to be this car. He wasn't giving me a choice of cars. It was a car that I saw in both cases, and both of them looked a little bit like they've been run around a bit, and I didn't even like the way they looked. I also don't like the dark interior, which apparently makes it more difficult to get a car, because I don't know whether most people like a dark interior or they just make more with the dark interiors. So he quoted me a price ultimately of $590 a month with $1,500 down. Mind you, I'm not putting any money down on the Mercedes, and the first month the payment is waived. So he quotes me a price of $590 for a Maxima. So I go, $590 for a Maxima, less money for a Mercedes. What would you do? Duh. So he quoted me, I think it was $472 and change for the crossover, which I had been led to believe would be a much lower price, and that also did not make any sense to me, because it was not enough of a difference to do this. And when I went back and I checked out the videos on YouTube, there was a lot of complaint about the Nissans and the transmission. This, I don't know if it's called CVT or whatever it is not a normal automatic anymore apparently, and whatever it is, they're having a lot of complaints with. I am not knowledgeable enough about cars to talk about it, so I can only leave that with you, but what I read was not all that promising. So it wasn't something that made me think, wow, I really have to make this work. So again, of all the cars that I saw, my very favorite was the Hyundai, but again, the price was too high, and that did not make any sense for me. And again, they were doing that based upon Tier 1 credit, which I would not have had, as it turns out, so it would have been a higher price even than that, so possibly even closer to the Mercedes. So I got a call back late yesterday. I mean, it took them all day, and I said, okay. When they didn't call me back after they had they ran my credit, I said, obviously they can't do anything, so the Mercedes is not going to be an option for me this time. And I was okay with that, because once I put that out of my mind, I was now going to the next option, which was what is my best option for a car. But the problem is I had no time. I only have days. And I've got loads of stuff I have to get done at home. And the dogs are coming home. They were going to come home today, but there's a nor'easter, so they're coming home tomorrow instead. I had to do all kinds of things to get the house ready for dogs. And there's too much. There's just too much going on in my world right now. And I couldn't deal with it. So he finally called me back yesterday late in the day, and he said to me, okay, he said the number is 531. Well, it's better than the other guy's number. Now, the other guy had told me that I said to my first salesperson, he didn't even offer to do it. I said it to him, and I said to his finance manager, go back to them and explain that I was sick. And he said to me, well, he said, but with your stated earnings, your earnings were lower. I said, my earnings were lower because I was sick. Hello? So they ultimately came back to me and said, okay, they could negotiate it down to 542. But I was already annoyed because I felt, it's an interesting thing. Many years ago, I have said, actually for years and years, in relating to my own business, nobody cares how much you know unless and until they know how much you care. I felt like my salesman didn't care. I felt as if the dealership didn't care, and maybe they don't. Maybe I am small potatoes to them and they don't care, but it seems to me that you really want everybody to be happy. And I was not happy, so my inclination was to go with the other guy. The fact that they were going to deliver my car to me and pick up the old car and make it easier for me to make this transition, the fact that he got me a car that my other salesman, this dark blue, my other salesman had told me there was nothing else except for the white one with the package that I wanted anywhere on the East Coast. Well, clearly that was not the truth, because this guy found more than one. Don't lie to me. Don't mislead me. Don't do what's easier for you and tell me it's because it's all that there is available. And once again, as I say, I'm sure that that white car is gorgeous. I'm sure it is. But I know me, and I just, although the dark blue is going to look disgusting dirty also, I know it is. I wish I could have gotten the same car again. In any case, it was still $11 a month cheaper. To get the car, it's going to cost me practically nothing. There are a couple of little fees that I have to pay, but essentially I'm not making a payment till the following month. So it's a 35 month instead of 36 months. They always offer you an early termination if you want to get into another car. So I figured, worst case scenario, I'm looking at 2.5 years, because after that, most places will offer you to get into a different car. They'll offer you to pay off your old lease, or a good part of it. So I said, all right, so really I'm making a commitment to 2.5 years. At my stage, it's scary because I don't know what's happening with me. I don't know about my health, but you know something? I need to risk it one way or the other because I need a car to function. I need a car to work. So I made the decision very late in the day yesterday that I'm going to go with the second guy. He did what he said he would do. He got it for me at the lowest price. And again, the difference in the price ultimately might be $30 a month-ish between that and another kind of car. So it just didn't make any sense to me. Am I scared? Yes, I am terrified because I am banking on my good health, and I pray to God that he lets me have good health. I pray to God that I can actually make it through this whole thing and survive and be able to pay my bills with no issue. And that's kind of where it stands. So I will pray for good fortune in that regard. And I will pray that I can get back to work sooner rather than later. Although last night and today I am in so much pain, there are no words for it. But I'm assuming some of that has to do with the nor'easter. And when there's a barometric pressure change, that is considerable whenever you have any kind of issues. They are usually worse. So that's my story for today. I'm going to just put my lipstick on. I picked up I went to Ace Hardware, and I had to get some bulbs, even though I can't change them myself. I can't change the hi-hats because I can't climb on a ladder. I'm going to have to wait till somebody's in the house and ask them if they can change it for me. But I had to buy a couple of bulbs for my chandelier as well because the light was getting very dim, and I needed to do that. I got an extra thing of Banami, which is the cleanser I like to use. And yeah, so while I was there, I went into the dollar store. Remember I had mentioned the other day that I had bought, what do you call that? The Lindt chocolate with the hazelnuts. They had it for $1.99. I had to get more, and it was right across the street from Ace. So I went in there and I picked up 3 bars. So I'll have that for a while, because taking a little piece of that, I love it. I love hazelnut, and it's really nice chocolate. So while I was there, I picked up, they had these Jordana pencils. I used to be able to get these at the dollar store for $1, but you can't do that anymore. So it was $2.49 for this. And I picked up a Jordana lipstick. I may hate it, but I've been wanting an orange lipstick for the longest time, and this was really cheap. I think it was $1 something. Whatever it was really, really inexpensive. So that's my story. So let's see how it looks. I'll line it like this. And the color on this is tawny. It's really light. Could be too light, actually. I'm a little shaky again. Okay, I think I'm gonna put on a wig today. Not that it matters, because I'm not going out. It's disgusting out there. Let me take this off. And here we go. It's really a nice orange. It's called Mango. Has a nice smell. Kind of fruity. Almost like a fruity bubblegum kind of smell. Not that I chew a lot of bubblegum these days. I will say the lipstick itself is a little bit on the dry side. But what was I expecting for $1 something? So it is what it is. So that is my story, and I hope to not talk to you about cars ever again. So take care, have a great day, and I will let you know how the Biore thing worked. But for the initial experience of it, I was really happy with it, and I'm not feeling any after effect from it. My makeup seems to have gone on well enough, though I do look a little bit like hell, because once again the lighting is terrible and my bags are, I think it's time for me to start using my eye cream again, the Emisam. I haven't used that since before I went into the hospital. So I think the time has come for me to do that. And this is just my transparent BB powder from Miraness that I'm just powdering this down to make it a little bit better. This is it. And I've had this for a really, really long time. Next time I come back, I'm going to try the bag balm, and I'll let you know how I feel about that. I've heard good things about it. Used for dry skin that can crack or split, hands and feet, elbows, knees, any skin that is dry. A little bag balm goes a long way. You will immediately feel a smooth, moisturized effect on your skin that lasts. So I'm going to give this a try. And once again, if any of you have used either of the products, let me know. And I'll talk to you soon. Take care. Love you all. Bye-bye.